The world's first three-parent baby, born with the help of a new controversial technique, is being called a breakthrough. The baby boy has DNA from two women and one man. The IVF technique was pioneered in the U.S. in the 1990s, but was banned shortly after. As Jackson Prosco explains, this new procedure is raising hopes and lots of questions.
Every baby is considered a miracle, but this one is a medical breakthrough.
Indeed, it's a revolutionary research.
That's Dr. John Zhang, holding the first baby to be the product of three parents. That's one father and two mothers. The baby was conceived through a new in vitro fertilization technique. The biological mother, whose name is being withheld, carries genes for a rare disorder called Lee syndrome, a severe neurological disorder that often results in death. Dr. Zhang created embryos using the sperm of the father combined with parts of an egg from the mother and parts of an egg from a donor. The idea is to extract the healthy nucleus from the mother's DNA and implant it into a donor egg. That way, scientists are able to avoid passing the faulty part of the mother's DNA to the child.
It seems proved that this technique can help certain patients to avoid to have a baby to have a fatal genetic disease.
Now 5 months old, the baby is healthy, but the procedure is still controversial. It's banned in several countries, including Canada, so the baby's Jordanian parents had to travel to Mexico to have it performed.
It should be done very responsibly. It cannot be done carelessly. How are you guys?
But the doctor behind the procedure believes this technique could one day become commonplace, helping parents avoid passing genetic disorders on to their children. Jackson Prosco, Global News, Washington.
Gene editing is a recently developed type of genetic engineering in which DNA is inserted, replaced, or removed, which is what you just watched here. Now, unless you are a naturalist, believing the human gene code should never be changed, surely you can't disagree with, say, fixing bad genes. But if you do disagree, do you only support repairing bad genes to a healthy state, not artificially replacing bad genes like with what you just saw? I'm not a geneticist, so when it said the baby has three parents, I'm assuming the third person's DNA is not benign, as in the baby will be genetically related to three different people. I hate not knowing that much about DNA, as it just leaves questions to be asked, while a geneticist already knows the answer to the questions I'm about to ask. Can DNA be made benign, and if not, does that mean if a single strain of DNA from another person was added to an embryo, would that embryo be genetically related to three different people? Now, assuming this baby is genetically related to three different people, does the second woman in this have any legal responsibilities to the baby? And if not, should she? And what if a third person's DNA was benign? Should they have legal responsibilities since they did take part in it? Part of me says the third person was just lending a hand and giving their DNA to the couple, so she has zero legal responsibilities to that child. The other part of me says even if she isn't genetically related to the baby, she still has legal responsibilities since she did take part in creating that baby. But so did all the people who took part in fertilizing the embryo, just that none of their DNA was used. Besides, I assume out of ignorance, but with scientific faith, that eventually science will be able to use nanorobotics or some other form of new technology to fix bad genes or replace them with benign DNA. So how about cosmetic DNA replacements? I want my child to have blue eyes, even though, as an adult, they may choose to change their eye color with contact lenses or maybe with future technology. How about changing the sex from a girl to a boy? I know pro-abortionists will call this sexist. They believe in abortion no matter what, yet also believe if you are only aborting females, then it's femicide. So I know they will oppose changing the sex. Should cosmetic DNA be allowed? No. Why? Because for one, no matter what hair or eye color you choose for your child, just because that's what you want, your child, when they grow up, may choose another color. And if they do, are you as a parent going to throw a hissy fit? As for changing the sex, what if everyone in the world at the same time wanted a girl or boy? That would not be good for the human race. So, I say no to the general public being allowed to do this at will, and only parents who already have a boy or girl and it would not affect the birth population of the sexes in a negative way could they then change it to the other, but this would only be allowed for every other pregnancy to keep the population of the sexes as close as possible. But what if for some reason the natural birth population of one sex is becoming lopsided and no parents want to make the switch to balance out the sexes? Should it be forced upon them? I say no, not even if it leads to the end of the human race. Free will is free will, as long as you're not harming others. Although one could say the sexes are being emotionally harmed if one sex is being born, say by a ratio of 2 to 1, or 3 or 4 to 1, and the government does not force parents to switch the sex of their child to balance out the birth populations of males and females. Now, if you are paying attention, you should be asking yourself, why allow free will in not forcing parents to change the sex of their child, but not allowing free will to change the sex of the child? Because one is the government forcing you to change something that naturally happened, and the other is the government not allowing you to change something artificially. Getting back to replacing fixing bad genes, what about preventing all mental and physical disabilities? I know the crazies will call this hatred or genocide against those with disabilities, but it's not. While those with a disability may have come to accept and even like who they are, which is a good thing, because if you can't accept who you are, you will only end up hating yourself. And even if they would not wish to be born so-called normal, they would only say that because that's what they know. For instance, a so-called normal person would not wish to be born disabled because it's what they know, just like a straight man would not wish to be born gay or a woman because it's what they know. So yes, this should be allowed. As for aborting because you know they will grow up to be disabled, well, that's another video. But what about intelligence and physical strength? On paper, there's nothing wrong with that, after all. It's not like taking a performance-enhancing drug, which has harmful effects on the body. The problem is, it will force parents to take the option in having improved intelligence and physical strength, because if they choose a natural birth, their child will be disadvantaged. But even so, this would be an improvement to the human race. Therefore, should all parents be forced into this? The Nazis would say yes, as they had their own eugenics program, as did the Americans. The Nazis also sterilized people, as did the Americans. Star Trek's Khan Noon Singh, Nooning? I think it's Noon Singh, also known as just Khan for short, was created and led. He didn't lead. And reword. See, the whole reading. I was gonna Google his fucking name to make sure I pronounced it correct, and now that's fucking me up in reading this shit. Was created and I should put "and which led to eugenics war" instead of "and led." Was created and led to eugenics war. Was created and which led to a eugenics war. While this is science fiction, humans going to war isn't, and I can see trying to create genetically engineered superhumans leading to war, let alone the fact that we can't control them. The movie Gattaca, on the other hand, had no wars, which is also a possibility, but it did create discrimination against those who were not genetically engineered, which would happen in real life. We have tried in the past to create superhumans, a master race, and even if there was no wars of discrimination, we do not know if this would be a good thing or a bad thing generations down the line. So for now, I say no to this. Thanks for watching me struggling reading. Fuck.